Hey guys, how you doing today? Just for my usual walk. Today is Canada Day. Uh, Given what we have experienced as a nation with the exhuming of mass graves of First Nations people in the residential school system, lots of people are beginning to ask the question, should we celebrate Canada Day? Is it appropriate to do so under these circumstances? And I'm glad to see that people are beginning to ask these questions of their nation. I'm a bit disappointed it took something as extreme as this in order to have people stop and begin thinking, hey, maybe we should actually use Canada Day instead of as a celebration of our colonial history and a celebration of the abandonment of the populace. Maybe we should use this as a moment of reflection. Maybe we should use this as a time to actually look at one another and ask ourselves, genuinely and seriously, what kind of nation do we want to live in? What do we want it to look like? When I was growing up, I was surrounded by people who were over the moon about the fact that we had a universal healthcare system. It was considered the jewel of Canada. Everyone around me, even the people who were critical of the system, were happy that such a thing existed, that we were moving forward and progressing. And it seems as though that was just a flash in the pan, that this moment of pride at passing a piece of legislation that helped everybody in the nation was just a fleeting exercise that is falling back. Because as we go through this Canada Day, I begin to ask the very simple question, do we genuinely care about one another? That this is the reason why I refuse to celebrate Canada Day, because I don't believe I live in a nation of people who do care about one another. That for the last decade, if not longer than that, I've been called a lazy, incompetent, stupid person for trying to engage in the nation that even 30 years ago, people like me would have been considered at the highest echelon of the society. But we're being thrown aside and cast aside en masse in huge numbers in order to facilitate the wealth of a group of people who keep ending up on Jeffrey Epstein's flights, right? That this is the structure of the society, that we were told that, oh, it's okay if you work away and slave away at a job, and that all of that wealth is going to go upwards because it's going to trickle down, you watch. And it turns out that, oh yeah, it trickled down all right into Jeffrey Epstein's island, right? Is this something I want to celebrate? Is this something that I'm standing around really going rah-rah about? And when you stand up and you actually critique this and you say, hey, this is a manic and sociopathic way to structure a society, you get called stupid and lazy and envious and jealous of the wealthy and all of these absurdist epitaphs. And it really is leading me to a path where I'm like, I don't want to participate in this. I don't want to participate in this society. I don't want to participate in a culture that has structured itself to not only generate mass graves of First Nations people, but also abandon its own citizens, which is exactly what we're doing. If you've made it to this point, please be sure to like, share, subscribe. I do a live stream 6 to 9 p.m. every weekday, Eastern Standard Time. Please come on down. If you've got a buck jangling around your pocket and you actually want to convince me that you give a crap, please be sure to donate to my Patreon. And this comes down to the central issue of what I think of canceling Canada Day, is that neoliberal capitalism has structured itself to abandon us en masse. That abandonment is becoming less and less, we're less and less able to deny it. It's ceasing to be something that we can just shrug and ignore and say, oh no, it's up to the individual, as we build a structure, a societal structures like the Canada Infrastructure Bank to permanently entrench hereditary wealth the uh, within the government itself, as we structure the entire society to full-scale abandon people, as the billionaire class buys up all of our housing, and our housing becomes completely unaffordable for even the wealthiest Canadians. Not the wealthiest, of course, my mistake, but people like the doctors, the lawyers, the engineers, the people who traditionally were expected to own property. Were expected that, oh, they'll work this high-level job, this highly educated job, and of course they'll have property. Well, that's gone. And it leaves me standing here saying, what exactly is it I'm supposed to be celebrating? And this isn't even talking about the absurdist catastrophe of climate change that is befalling us. That this heat wave that went throughout the West Coast has finally put the nail in the coffin that the planning phase is over. The opportunity we had to erect some kind of system in order to counterbalance the negative consequences of climate change, that's over. That phase has finished. We are now in the consequence phase of climate change. We're now going to consistently and constantly be dealing with the overwhelming impacts of climate change ripping through our society, destroying huge sections of the poor, of course, of the poor. And we're just going to stand by and watch as those people get thrown out into the streets over and over again. We're going to watch people be abandoned constantly, while the sociopaths in our society say, well, they should just pull themselves up by their bootstraps and work harder. And everything we're doing with the complete and complicit idea built within us that the abandonment of our own citizens is acceptable. What are we celebrating exactly? What's this Canada that I'm supposed to be worshiping? What's this society? And then in the meantime, the National Post will go and find some educated immigrant from some other nation and publish an article saying, oh no, Canadians just don't understand how good they have it, that in my nation things are so much worse. Of course, excluding the fact that Canada is selling weapons to destroy that nation, right? Just like we're selling weapons to Saudi Arabia so that the Saudi Arabians can enact a genocide in Yemen, just like we're selling weapons to the Israelis so they can enact a genocide against the Palestinians, right? That even the people who are standing up saying, I don't want to celebrate Canada Day, aren't also turning around and demanding that we fundamentally change the way we operate in the world. We're not interested in that, because we still are a colonial white supremacist nation. Fundamentally, we stand up and say, oh, we're such a rich and powerful nation, but we're incapable of actually eliminating homelessness. That seems to be a problem too large for the wealthy nation of Canada. We seem unable to end this unfolding process of wage slavery. Too big a problem for Canada. We seem unable to confront a capitalist class that is actively abandoning us to a climate change hell. This is too big a problem for Canada. And again, what is it that I'm supposed to be celebrating exactly? I take a look at the situation as it's unfolding, and I keep thinking to myself, we simply need to stop. We need to stop doing things. We need to stop acting in the world at all. I walk down the street, and it's lined with car after car after car vomiting out pollution so that people can rush to a job they hate to do a task that is largely pointless, that helps no one except a small rapacious group of child rapists who are completely disinterested in actually facilitating any kind of benefit for anyone at all. And when climate change comes through, when the event occurs, which is what the billionaire class are calling it, they're going to retreat into their palaces, go into their underground bunkers. People like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos are gonna fire into the space station, some sort of ridiculous nonsense like this, while the earth around us burns. What exactly is it I'm supposed to be celebrating? And I hope that Canada Day becomes a day of reflection, that we cease this colonial nonsense with our stupid air shows and fireworks that terrify the wildlife, so that we can show our white supremacy and our dominance to the natural world as we do everything we can to betray it and have it turn against us. And I hope that we take Canada Day and instead of using it to blow up the atmosphere, to show our military strength, that instead we pause and we think and we stop and we ask ourselves, how can we make this place better for each other? How can I improve the world for my neighbor? How can I make it so that this place is sustainable? How can I build an inheritance for the next generation? Because the inheritance we're passing to the next generation is an inheritance of debt and death. We're not giving them anything worth celebrating. We're giving them a lineage of horror. We're putting them so deeply into a hole that it's going to take their entire lives to dig out of it. And then I'm supposed to pick up a Canada flag and give a little wave. And I'm just not going to do it. And I recommend everybody cease participating in this insanity. Cease participating in this shit show. Stop voting Conservative. Stop voting Liberal. Stop participating in our own destruction and the denigration of our own society. And most importantly than any of that, stop celebrating Canada Day. Alright guys, this is the end of this video. If you've made it here and you like what you hear, or at the very least you are in solidarity with what you hear, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. I've got a Patreon down below. Please consider donating. We need leftist voices in the conversation. Leftists have been silenced in the mainstream media. There's no such thing as a socialist or a communist in the mainstream media. It doesn't exist. We need leftist voices to counter the large-scale propaganda campaigns that come out from the billionaire class, because they've proven that they're more willing to propagandize you with billions of dollars than to actually keep you from being homeless and on the street. You are a divine being, standing on divine energy. We could use some of it right now. Good luck. We're gonna need it.